Hello, everybody out there in Rumble, X, and YouTube land. Welcome back to Diego Knows. I, of course, am Diego. And we're going to talk some more about Wicked for Good. Okay, your favorite movie, not mine. All right, which just came out last week. It's already old news. Honestly, I don't even know why I'm reviewing this movie anymore. Nobody's really talking about it anymore. It's like everyone said everything they need to say about it. They said it last week. It's not as good as the first one. The songs aren't memorable. It doesn't fit in well with the original Wizard of Oz movie from 1939. It's gay fan fiction. Okay, the fan base are a bunch of like snobby, rich, white, Broadway theater goers. That's what's kept the show in business as many years as it has. Okay, that's the thing. It knows its demographic. It knows its demographic. Okay, and it gives its demographic what it wants. Okay, but I think, and I think a lot of people will agree with me, is the first half of Wicked was the better half. Okay, because once you put Elphaba and Glinda and the Wizard and all those events into the events from the Wizard of Oz, the story does not hold up. It doesn't fit in at all. They have to delete things, or they have to suppose a lot of things that we don't really need to suppose. It ruins the original Wizard of Oz movie. It does. Okay, because here we thought that the reason the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion, we thought we knew the reasons why they joined Dorothy on this quest. Okay, well, guess what? It turns out no, they had their own ulterior motives that Dorothy knew nothing about. Okay, that to me doesn't sit right at all. Okay, we know damn well that the Wicked Witch of the West, okay, was called that because in the original movie she was wicked. She was evil. Okay, she was evil in the original Wizard of Oz movie. Okay, the threats that she made to Dorothy. Okay, she tried to kill Dorothy. She threatened to kill her dog as well. Okay, she threw fireballs at a little girl. Okay, that should tell you everything you need to know about what kind of a character the Wicked Witch of the West was. Okay, she lived up to her name. All right, so there was no misunderstanding. Okay, Dorothy didn't take anything the witch said the wrong way. Okay, the Wicked Witch enjoyed torturing Dorothy, enjoyed playing with her, like the way she made her think. That hey, listen, once this time runs out, these sands of time, once they run out, you'll be dead. That kind of a thing. So no, the Wicked Witch of the West most definitely was not a benevolent person. Okay, but this story is written from her point of view. Okay, where guess what? Her point of view, she is a benevolent person. Okay, and everybody actually liked her. I mean, she was actually like a good person, a moral person. Okay, the Elphaba that we see in these movies would never throw a fireball at a little girl. Okay, never, no matter what she did. Okay, she would never threaten to kill a puppy. Okay, Elphaba loved animals. She probably loved animals more than she loved people. Okay, but she would never threaten to kill a helpless little dog. All right, that never would have happened. Okay, and she wouldn't have killed an animated Tin Man or animated Scarecrow either. All right, so the whole idea, it's basically a completely different character from what we saw in the original Wizard of Oz. Okay, also, it doesn't just do that to her, it does that to the wizard himself. Okay, the wizard in the original movie was a nice guy. Yes, he was a charlatan. He was a trickster. Okay? He conned people. But he wasn't a heartless sociopath. Okay? Once he got exposed, he owned up to it. He's like, okay, yeah, I'm a fake. You're right. But, okay, I think I can still help you out. He showed them, instead of giving them what they wanted, he showed them that they already had everything that they wanted. Everything that they needed, they already had it. Okay, he just showed them how to look for it. He said, no, the Scarecrow, you're already smart. Okay, but, what you don't have is a college degree. So here, I'm going to give you one. Here. No, Tin Man, you do have a heart. You do feel things. Okay, you are capable of love. But what you don't have is a clock. Okay, so here's a clock in the shape of a heart. Okay, now you can hear it beating. Okay, and then of course the Cowardly Lion. Okay, you are courageous. Okay, you wanted to be brave. That's not how bravery doesn't work that way. Okay, bravery means that you're scared, but you do it anyway, and you did that plenty of times. The only thing you don't have is a Medal of Honor. So here's a Medal of Honor. You see what I mean? So they already had everything they needed. And same thing with Dorothy. Dorothy could have always gone home. All right, the reason she was in Oz is so that she could appreciate the home life that she had. She was unhappy living on that farm. Okay, being the only kid there. With her aunt and uncle, okay, and those farm hands that were working there. Yeah, they were all nice to her, but they weren't kids. They didn't understand her. She felt like she wasn't very important. They're also busy with working, and stuff. She felt like she was, she wasn't getting enough attention. And then of course her neighbor, like Mrs. Gulch, who hated her dog and wanted to take her dog away from her and kill her dog. She wasn't very happy. So she was wishing for a life better than the one that she had. Longing for something better than this, And by the end of the movie, she realizes that, hey, life is what you make of it. You can be happy anywhere, You start by being grateful for the things that you have. See, she wanted a different life. But instead she realizes that, hey, everything that's important to me is right here in this farm. I love my aunt and uncle. I love this farm. I love the people that work here. I love my life. I just wasn't appreciative of it until it was taken from me. Then I realized how important these things were to me, how important these people were to me. You see? So that's a good lesson. That's a lesson everybody can relate to. Okay? Wicked is telling you to throw all that away. Okay, throw all that away. That's not what the message was here. The message here was Elphaba's self-actualization. Okay? She already knew who she was, but she hadn't done anything significant with it. Now, this is her chance to do that. Her chance. Okay? Because the real peril, the real danger of this movie is whether or not Elphaba will end up with a hot guy. That's her story arc. Okay? That she topples the government and that she ends up with a hot guy. That's her motivation here, okay? That's the story arc we're supposed to care about. Okay, she does a lot of crying during all that. All right, let's get back to the movie here. Okay, now where we left off last time, okay, we find out that Nyssa Rose, that's Elphaba's paraplegic sister, that she is now the governor of Munchkinland, just like her father was, where Elphaba grew up there. Elphaba's a Munchkin, all right? Only half, though, because her dad was the wizard and her mom was a Munchkin. All right, but Elphaba doesn't know this. Okay, so Nyssa Rose is now, this whole movie takes place 5 years after the events of the last movie. So Nyssa Rose is not in college anymore. Now she's the governor of Munchkinland, and she's not a good governor. She's very mean, very ruthless. Okay, she just passed laws allowing the discrimination of animals. Okay, which is what the wizard wants for all the lands in Oz to be. Okay, so she does that. Boq, her boyfriend, who does not love her. Okay, he's this ugly piece of crap guy, and that's who he is in real life. He's also that in this movie. Okay, he decides that he doesn't want to be Nyssa Rose's secretary anymore. He wants to go back to the Emerald City. Okay, he wants to. He found out that Glinda, okay, is going to marry Prince Fiyero. Okay, and he wants to maybe stop that wedding because he's in love with Glinda. The fact that Glinda doesn't give two craps about Boq and never did does not occur to him. The fact that Prince Fiyero is everything that Boq is not. Okay, Prince Fiyero is tall, he's handsome, okay, he's charming, he's a bad boy, he's rich, he's royalty, okay, he's a good dancer and all these kind of things, okay. These are all things that Glinda finds attractive about him, especially his social status. Boq does not have any of these things. He's short, he's unattractive, he has no self-confidence, okay, he's not a singer, he's not a dancer. Okay, he doesn't have a lot of money. he's your average Joe, but he's in love with Glinda, and he wants to confess his feelings to her. He's been in love with her ever since he first met her in college. Okay, despite the fact that she had her arm wrapped around Prince Fiyero the entire time they were in college. he still had these feelings for her. Okay, he basically saw Nyssa Rose as a consolation prize, the girl that he could get, but not really the girl that he wanted to get. Am I right, guys? Okay, so yes, we do this too, ladies. You thought you were the only ones that do this? No, we do this too. All right. So he decides that now, because Glinda's getting married, that now is the time to go to the Emerald City and stop the wedding and tell Glinda how much he loves her, even though he can't offer her anything that Prince Fiero can. And hopefully she'll leave Fiero and run off with him. Yeah. Why? Because he's a beta male, soy boy, limp dick cuck. Like every guy in this movie is. Okay, that's the only kind of men that are in these gay written plays and novels and movies. All right, so he goes to this train station, okay, and only to find out that all Munchkins are forbidden to leave Munchkinland without written permission from the governor. Okay, so he gets kicked off. He sees like families of Munchkins getting kicked off the train. They will not let him board the train. So he's all fucking pissed off about this. And he looks at the banner, and it turns out that Nyssa Rose just enacted this ordinance like immediately. Immediately after Boq said goodbye to her and that he was leaving her is when she put this law into effect. So he understands exactly why Munchkins are forbidden to leave. It's because Nyssa Rose will not let him leave. He's basically a prisoner now, and there's nothing he can do about it. Okay? So he's stuck in Munchkinland. Okay? Meanwhile, Elphaba is flying around playing with herself, okay, in the sky, and then she notices a caravan of Venezuelans, and Colombians and Mexicans. They're all walking towards the border. And oh no, sorry, I got that confused. That's a different realm. Okay, no, she notices all these animals walking with their families, and they're going somewhere. They're on the yellow brick road, which just got built. Okay, apparently someone blasted a hole in the middle of the yellow brick road, and there's a tunnel in there now, and so all the animals are going through that tunnel. So Elphaba wants to see what the hell's going on here. Now, Elphaba is an animal rights activist, and by that I mean she's done absolutely nothing for the animals in the past 5 years. She fled Oz, but she spent that entire time basically reading her magical book, the Grimoire, and playing with herself. And I guess she built herself a treehouse, okay, and a dildo or a vibrator or something. Okay, because she hasn't done jack shit in the past 5 years. She's done nothing to give the animals more rights. They have less rights now than they did in the last movie. Okay, she's done nothing to stop the wizard from persecuting them, locking them up in cages. She's done nothing to stop that from happening. Okay, so of course the animals don't trust her either. Okay, any more than they trust the wizard. So she shows up there, sees all these animals. Okay. And it's apparently nobody there. None of the animals know what's on the outside of Oz. No one's ever ventured outside of the land of Oz, but they would rather take their chances out there than to stay in Oz, where they're basically outlawed. Like they're not even allowed to live in Oz, much less have rights. Okay, so they'd rather take their chances out there, okay, than to stay in Oz. All right, because of all the persecution. Okay. So Elphaba shows up and she tries to sing them out of it. Not talk them out of it, sing them out of it. She starts singing this song called No Place Like Home, which is a stupid song. Obviously, it's a riff from the original Wizard of Oz. There's no place like home, Elphaba tries to sing them out of it, okay, but they're scared and they don't trust her. They do not trust Elphaba, okay? And why don't they trust her? Because the Cowardly Lion all of a sudden shows up. He just jumps in there. He's full grown now. In the last movie, he was a cub. But now he's a full-grown adult lion, but he's still scared of everything. Okay, he tells the other animals that Elphaba is responsible for giving the blue monkeys their wings, thereby turning the royal guards into a bunch of flying spies. The monkeys can now fly around the land of Oz, okay, and report what they see to the wizard. That's something that the wizard couldn't do before, but now he can. All right? And it's because of Elphaba. Because in the last movie, the wizard tricked her into reading from the Grimoire book, thereby giving all the blue monkeys wings. Like painfully, the wings grew out of their backs. Okay? So that's going on here. Okay? Elphaba owns up to being the one that gave the monkeys their wings. And the Cowardly Lion also accuses her of stealing her kidnapping him when he was a baby, when he was a cub. And she tries to explain to him, "Hey, listen, you know, they had you locked up in a cage. I'm the one that freed you. Okay, you know, you would have, if you had stayed in that cage, you never would have developed the ability to speak. Okay, you would have been a dumb animal, and I was trying to save you from that. Okay, now of course, the Cowardly Lion did not remember that. Mostly, it was Prince Fiero that rescued the cub. Yes, Elphaba was there, but it was Fiero that was hugging the cub, hugging him, holding him, you know, playing with him and stuff, okay? But yet, for some reason, the Cowardly Lion does not remember that Prince Fiero was the real guy that set him free. And he's definitely not going to remember that Prince Fiero is the Scarecrow when they go off on their little voyage with Dorothy. Okay, see how I'm talking, how it just contradicts the original movie. All right. So anyway, he tells all the animals that. We also get to see Dulcibert. Dulcibert is this big female bear. She was basically Elphaba's nanny when she was a baby. She was the one that gave Elphaba love and affection, okay, because her mother died, okay, and her father hated her. Okay, so Dulcibert was the one that basically changed her diapers and stuff, you know, showed her love despite the fact that she was a green girl, that kind of a thing. Okay, and Dulcibert is also fleeing. Okay, and she's trying to talk them out of it or sing them out of it. She doesn't want them to go. She's like, this is our land. This is our land. This is our home. It's not the wizards. It's ours. It belongs to all of us. You can't just flee. We got to fight for it, you know? And they don't trust her. Okay, and even Dulcibert is not swayed. Okay, she tells him, listen, I know you're going to keep fighting because I know you. But we can't stay here. It's not safe for us. And so they all leave. They all go down the tunnel to flee. Okay? You know, so all that's going on here. Now, what I don't understand is that if the Cowardly Lion hates Elphaba so much, okay, for kidnapping him when he was a baby, why the hell did he not leave with the other animals? Okay, that makes no sense. That's another contradiction. Okay, he does not trust Elphaba. He knows that he's being persecuted. He's scared of everything. He knows damn well that the citizens of Oz are persecuting all the animals. That includes him. So why the hell would he want? He's the most scared of all. Why the hell would he want to stay in Oz and risk getting captured and caged? You see what I mean? It makes no sense. If the Cowardly Lion really did feel this way, he would have gone down that tunnel with all the other animals and take his chances out there. You see, this movie contradicts itself. Okay, a lion who's scared to death of everything in Oz wouldn't stay in Oz. He would leave. Okay. And it's never explained why the lion stayed. This movie does not explain that. Okay? Also, the next scene here is we see an axe by the fireplace. We're back at Nyssa Rose's governor office again. Excuse me. And Boq is back. Obviously, he can't leave, so he's back to being her secretary, servant, /slave, /love slave, too, because, you know, she uses him as a dildo. Okay? And he's stuck there working for her, but he's upset about it. He takes it out on the wood. He chops the wood and throws the wood into the fireplace to warm up the office. All right? But clearly he's pissed off. Okay? He has a lot of resentment towards Nyssa Rose. He does notice a magazine, okay, announcing that Fiero and Glenda are getting married. Okay? And of course, he hides this magazine in his pocket. Okay? So this is when he finds out about the wedding. Okay, now earlier he did try to leave, but he left because now we know why he was trying to leave earlier. It's because he wanted to see Glinda, all right? But now since Glinda is getting married, that's what sped up his timetable. So now he really wants to get out of there, out of Munchkinland, okay? Now after he leaves Nyssa Rose alone in her office, all of a sudden the mirrors break, and that's the signal that Elphaba just arrived. So Elphaba shows up here, has not seen her sister in 5 years. She shows up, and of course, all the mirrors break when butt ugly Cynthia Erivo arrives. Okay, and then Nyssa is mad at her sister Elphaba for shaming their father before he died. Okay, when Madame Morrible announced that Elphaba has betrayed the Wizard of Oz and that she's a terrorist now, you know, and that from now on her name is Wicked Witch of the West. It's not Elphaba anymore. That shamed their father, Frexbar, the governor of Munchkinland, and so he had a heart attack and died. Okay? And that's the reason Nyssa Rose became the new governor. Okay? Okay, and she's upset with Elphaba for not showing up for their father's funeral. Okay, well, first of all, he was not Elphaba's father, but Elphaba doesn't know that. Elphaba's mom was screwing the Wizard of Oz. Okay, that's her real father. Okay, she was cheating on her husband. Okay, and Elphaba explains that Frexbar, their father, never loved her. Never loved her. And that's true. He always treated Elphaba like shit. All right? He fawned over Nissa Rose, despite the fact that she was paraplegic. He gave her his wife's silver slippers, not ruby red slippers, silver slippers, which Nissa Rose is wearing right now. Okay? He absolutely adored Nissa Rose, but he hated his other daughter, Elphaba. Now, we're made to think that it's because she had green skin. Okay? Which maybe it was. Who knows? Okay? But in the book, I think that was it. Yeah, it's because of her green skin. He didn't know that he wasn't her father either. Okay? Anyway, so in the book, Turtleheart was Nissa's... in the book, Turtleheart was Nissa's real dad, not Frexbar. But in this movie, Frexbar is Nissa's real dad. Okay, also, they decide immediately. They both decide that it's not important why their father loved Nissa but didn't love Elphaba. It's not important apparently. Then why talk about it? Why show it? All right. Nissa is upset that Elphaba flies around the land of Oz using her magic book, the Grimoire, okay, to help random animals, okay, but not to help her. So Nissa Rose has a selfish motive here. Nissa Rose is a paraplegic. She was born crippled. Okay? She's upset that Elphaba's flying around helping animals with her magic, but yet hasn't done a damn thing for her. Okay? She's still stuck in the wheelchair. So that's why she's really upset with Elphaba. Not for not showing up for Dad's funeral. Okay? Not for shaming him or none of that shit. It's because Elphaba didn't use her magic to help Nissa Rose out. Okay, that's the real reason, okay? She wants Bach. She wants Bach to love her again, the way he did when they were in college. Okay, well, Bach never loved Nissa Rose, okay? She was a consolation prize because the woman he really did love was Glinda. And Glinda did not love him. Glinda loved Fiyero. Okay, because he was taller, better looking, square-jawed, ripped abs, a bad boy, rich, he was royalty, and had a bigger dick. So, of course, Glinda loved Fiyero, despite the fact that in real life, Fiero's gay. All right? That's what Bach was upset about, okay? So, basically, it was either I get a paraplegic girlfriend or I'm jerking off for the rest of my life, okay? Okay, because Bach is about as good looking as my asshole, so he's not like a ladies' man, all right? Women aren't going to find him immediately attractive, okay? And he's aware of that. Or maybe he's not aware of that, whatever, okay? So that's going on here. Okay. So Nissa Rose wants Bach to be her boyfriend again, to love her again, like when they were in college, okay? And she's still wearing the silver slippers that her dad gave her. Okay. Now, of course, Elphaba brought the magic book, the Grimoire, with her to visit Nissa Rose. And it opens by itself. Okay, and Elphaba decides to cast a spell for her sister, on her sister. She casts a spell on the slippers, the silver slippers, and they start to glow ruby red, get it? And the next thing you know, Nissa Rose is levitated up in the air. Okay, like she's flying, and she's all happy and excited that she can actually stretch her legs now, that kind of thing, up in the air. All right? So now the slippers, the silver slippers, which are glowing red, now there's magic inside of them, okay? Thanks to Elphaba. Okay? Nissa is excited and Elphaba is proud of herself, okay, for doing this, that she actually did something good with her magic. And then all of a sudden Bach enters the room and he's freaked out. The first thing he sees is he sees Nissa Rose floating in the air, and then he sees Elphaba standing in the corner, so he's freaked out like, oh, damn, he knows that Elphaba's a terrorist. Okay, they used to be friends in college, but he believes all the propaganda against her. All right? Okay, he's shocked. He tells Nissa that since she's flying now, that she can get around without him now to push her wheelchair or anything, that he wants to leave. Okay? He tells her again, I want to leave. And he tells her, I want to go to the Emerald City and tell Glinda that I love her. And hopefully stop the wedding with Fiyero. Okay? Well, Nissa gets super upset by this. She starts to float back down and she sinks back into her wheelchair. Okay? Okay, and Bach tells Elphaba that both of them are wicked. Your sister is an evil governor. She's no better than you are. That's what Bach tells Elphaba. Okay, and that he tells Elphaba, your sister's keeping me prisoner here. Now Elphaba hears this, and she's like, Nissa, let him go. You know, like, you can't force him to love you. You can't force him to stay here if he doesn't want to stay here. So Nissa, she rolls herself over to where the Grimoire is on the couch, and she tries to cast a spell so that Bach will lose his heart to me. That's the spell. So she can't read, she can't pronounce the words right. Okay, so she's screwing up the spell. Now Elphaba tells Nissa Rose, you're pronouncing the words wrong, but she doesn't actually run over there and stop her, although she could do that easily. She doesn't. She lets Nissa cast the spell in the wrong way. She does absolutely nothing to stop her sister from killing Bach. All right. So so she pronounced the words wrong. So Elphaba does nothing to stop her sister. Bach decides this is his time to leave, but before he can leave, he starts feeling a pain in his chest. Okay, he starts to feel like his heart is shrinking inside of his chest. It's about to disappear. So he starts to collapse. Okay, he's in a lot of pain. He's rolling around in pain. Okay, Elphaba tells Nissa that once you cast a spell from the Grimoire, it cannot be undone. All right, so she tells Nissa to leave the room so that she can do a counter spell in order to save Bach's life. Okay, so Nissa decides to roll herself out of there while the love of her life is screaming in pain on the floor. Okay, she goes outside, closes the door. Okay, and for some reason she declares herself the Wicked Witch of the East because Bach called her wicked, so she's gonna wear it now. She's gonna wear that label now. I am the Wicked Witch of the East. Okay, now inside the room, metal from all over the room starts wrapping itself around Bach's body. We see some of that. Okay, and then Elphaba walks out of the room and tells Nissa that Bach will live. He'll be okay. No, he won't. Okay. And then she tells Nissa that there's nothing that I can ever do for you that'll ever be enough. Okay. Nothing I can do for you will ever make you happy. So I'm not going to try to make you happy anymore, sister. That's basically what she tells her. And Nissa screams, don't leave me. And Elphaba just looks over at her and goes like, I'm off to see the wizard. And then she gets on her broomstick and flies out of that room faster than a bat out of hell. So now Nissa is truly alone. She's truly alone. But here, all of a sudden, we hear the door getting chopped down, okay? Someone's chopping at the door with an axe. So Nissa turns her wheelchair around to go see what's going on. Okay, and slowly the door starts to crumble, the door to her office. And who steps out of this door? Okay, it is the Tin Man. He grabbed the axe from the fireplace and he used it to break down the door. So he steps out of the door. It's the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz, okay? Or an approximation, okay? A pretty good approximation. I think they did a great job with his look. He looks like the Tin Man, but he also looks kind of steampunkish, okay? Like an updated version, but he still looks like the Tin Man. It's a guy in a Tin Man suit. It's not like a robotic Tin Man like we've seen other versions of, okay? It's closer to the one from the Wizard of Oz movie, okay? Well, Nissa tries to explain to him that everything will be all right, but the Tin Man is pissed off. He's like super fucking pissed off. Like there's like blood in his eyes. Like he wants to kill somebody over what happened to him, okay? He's no longer Bach now. Now he's the Tin Man. He steps in front of Nissa Rose and he looks at himself in the mirror. Okay, he's like, what happened to me? He's angry. And he's going to take it out on Nissa Rose. He blames Nissa Rose. Okay, but before he can fucking take his axe to Nissa and cut her in half for turning him into the Tin Man, she screams at him and tells him that she didn't do it. It was Elphaba. Elphaba did this to you. It wasn't me. She leaves out the part that Nissa was the one that cast a spell that was going to kill him. She's the one that tried to kill him. It was Elphaba that tried to save his life. That did save his life. But in saving his life, it turned him into the Tin Man. Okay, but, so that's the story Nissa tells the Tin Man. It wasn't me. It was my sister. She did this to you, not me. In order to save her own ass. Okay? And so he decides to leave her there. Okay? and he just walks out of her chamber and walks out into the land of Oz. It's the Tin Man. He's bloodthirsty and angry. Okay, and Nyssa starts screaming for him. Bark! Okay, now for me, in a lot of ways, this makes no sense for me. Okay, because first of all, the Tin Man in the movie, he had a goal. Okay, he was there because he needed a heart. Okay, and if you look at Bach's character throughout the movie, he's in love with Glinda, and he tries to love Nyssa Rose, okay? But he's infatuated with Glinda, despite the fact that she doesn't give two shits about him. Okay, he's a nerd, he's an incel, he can't get laid. Okay, now I know in real life, he did steal Ariana Grande from her husband. Okay, and she did steal him from his wife and kid and newborn baby. Okay, but that's in real life, okay? I have no idea what they're doing together in real life, okay? But in the movie, they're not together. In the movie, he's pining for Glinda, a woman that will never love him. Now, not because she's prettier than him. She's just as ugly as he is, okay? She has no body, no nothing, okay? She reminds you of that girl from Stranger Things, that concentration camp survivor that all the guys on the show are fighting over. What are you fucking fighting over olive oil for? Fucking leave her alone. There's a reason Popeye's dating her, okay? So anyway, yeah, so like, you know, the whole idea that this guy who's all about love, okay, is now this angry, bloodthirsty Tin Man with an axe. It makes no sense to me, okay? This is not, and unfortunately, this is the way he's going to be for the rest of the movie. He's never going to become this nice guy singing about, if I only had a heart, you know? He's not going to be the guy that's crying when Dorothy, gets paralyzed in the poppy field and he can't do anything to help her. You know, he's not going to be any of that stuff, okay? And if he does do that stuff later on, he's going to be faking it, okay? So now we know that the real reason he joined Dorothy was not so that he could get a heart, okay? It's so that he can kill Elphaba, get revenge. You know, and the fact that he knows the Scarecrow, he knows Prince Fiero, and they don't acknowledge the fact that they already knew each other before they got turned into what they got turned into. They never acknowledged each other in the original movie. You see what I mean? So there's another layer of deception right there. And that's not explained by this movie. How is it that the Scarecrow and the Tin Man don't know each other in the original movie when they knew each other before they became these things? You see? So now we know that the only reason Tin Man joined Dorothy was so that he could kill Elphaba and get revenge. Not because he wanted a heart. He doesn't want a heart. He's angry. He's hateful. He's bloodthirsty. You see what I mean? He's proud of the fact that he has no conscience anymore. That he has no heart. Okay? You see what I mean? He gives a speech about it later on in the movie. So it's like, what the hell is this? This is not the Tin Man. He looks like the Tin Man, but that's not his personality. You know? It doesn't reconcile with the original movie at all. Okay? All right, I'm going to stop right here, but I'll be back to continue my review of Wicked for Good. I thank you very much for watching this long, and I will see you soon on the next one. Bye.